Hey folks, welcome back. It is time to get started with unit number 4. So let's take a look at the course. And this week we are continuing our getting ready for the argument paper, which of course is your biggest writing assignment this semester. But you do have a discussion board and a writing assignment this week. This week's writing assignment will be 2 paragraphs where we have done one before and we've done a full essay with the narrative. So let's take a look at the readings and resources first. We are going to be focusing still on reliability of resources and that sort of thing, which we've already kind of started with. So your readings this week, we are going to be looking in more depth about how to find evidence. So last time we had a formal writing assignment. The article that you were going to use was provided for you. Now you're going to be having to find your own articles to support your point of view and to support the opposite point of view on a particular topic. So you want to watch this video on how to use the library, as well as, of course, reading the assignments, excuse me, in the textbook. And then, of course, you're going to have a second section on evaluating the sources. So first you find them, then you evaluate them. One of the big challenges when doing research writing is properly citing your sources, both on the references page and in the in-text citations. We've practiced that a little bit with things that have been provided for us, but now you're going to be finding your own sources. So you're going to need to create a references page and the in-text citation. So the evaluating sources has some additional information about that, as well as an activity on creating a references page. I will remind you that back in Unit 1, under readings and resources, there is a template for you to use for your APA papers, and I would highly recommend that. It will save you a lot of trouble when it comes to double spacing, when it comes to the margins, the hanging indent for the bibliography. It just is a lot easier to start with that template. So then you have, as usual, 2 assignments. This week, one is, of course, a discussion board, and the other is a writing assignment. So unlike last week when you had your first knowledge check, this week you will have a writing assignment. So you'll create a Word document. You'll submit that as we have been doing. So for the discussion board, you should have a little bit of fun with this assignment. Essentially, you're going to think about products, things that we use on a normal everyday basis, and you're going to write both a pro paragraph and a con paragraph with that product. So some of the examples that they have supplied for you, one of the most popular is the SUV choice. A lot of people choose that one. Organic foods, scented candles. You can really use any kind of product that you want, and you could even use a very specific product. For example, if you wanted to talk about the pros and cons of eating at McDonald's, or the pros and cons of a Big Mac, even, I suppose you could get that specific. Then, of course, you'll post your response by Wednesday, and then review what other people have said. You have until Sunday night to then respond to others. Have you ever used the product they were writing about? Did any of the pros and cons persuade you to use or try the product? And then, of course, you can also feel free to use the glow or grow technique for responding to others on discussion boards that I posted in the announcements last week. If you haven't seen that, make sure you check it out. It's kind of a cool idea. Then in unit number 4, the writing assignment. Now this again is where a lot of folks, I think last time, could not remember where to find the link that you need. So this is the link. If you click on this, this is where you're going to submit it, and you can view the rubric and all of those good things. But this link is the most important link when it comes to the writing assignments. This is the full assignment for the detailed instructions and grading criteria. Now, you don't have to even click on this to get there. It is also on the main page. So I'm going to click back to the main page and go to this one. It's the same link. It takes you to exactly the same space. So you're not writing a full essay. You're only writing 2 paragraphs. The first paragraph will be a pro paragraph, and the second will be the con. So you might be for, anyway, it's pro and con of these topics. You have to choose one of these, and these are going to be the topics that you will use for your argument paper. So what you choose now is what you're going to continue to work with through the rest of the term. So 3 choices: free speech regulated on social media, mandatory American health insurance, or American National Service requirement. You're going to use the library to find an article that is a pro and a con. Now, the main thing with searching for the library is that you probably do not want to just put in the phrases that are on this sheet. You have to play around with the search terms sometimes to find what you're looking for. So if I were searching for free speech regulated on social media, for example, I would put in free speech and social media. That's all I would put in. If I were searching for mandatory American health insurance, I would put in probably mandatory and insurance first to see how much stuff comes up. And then the American National Service requirement, same thing. I would probably put in American and service requirement and leave out national. So play around with the search terms. If you have trouble finding sources, make sure you reach out to me or to one of the librarians. You can do that, fully online. And then you're going to write 2 paragraphs. In this assignment, you are going to still use an in-text citation, but instead of using a direct quote, you want to paraphrase a piece of information or summarize something that came from your article. So rather than using a direct quote, you're going to put it in your own words, but you're still going to cite that source. So you should have at least 3 pages in your document. You'll have a cover page or a title page. The paragraphs will start on page 2 and probably go on to page 3. With 2 paragraphs, they're probably long enough to go on to the next page. And then, of course, the references list, which will only have 2 items on it, 1 pro article and 1 con. You can also try, when you're looking in the library, to play around with the terms pro and con to see if you can get some specifically opinionated pieces on these issues. That's another good kind of trick to make sure you're getting the kind of thing that you need. But again, if you need some extra help with it, make sure you reach out. I'm happy to help with those. And so are our librarians.